Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Lau, and you are watching AO Mecha Live, where all the magic happens. Check this out. Where did it go?
Good evening, guys, and welcome to another episode of AO Mecha Live. My name is Ariel, and that magician right there, Ryan Lau, how crazy is that? This guy is filled with so many bags of tricks. I don't know what he's going to bring with us tonight, but I am looking forward to hearing all about it. I hope you guys are too. I just want to say a quick shout out to everybody there at Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Thank you for joining us tonight. So a quick thing about Ryan. Who the hell is Ryan Lau? No, seriously, look at the guy. He's so freaking happy all the time. There's no builder out there should have that kind of smile on his face, you know? Like, if you've seen any of our past builder episodes, yeah, sure, they smile. But Ryan Lau's smile? That guy creeps me out, man. Like Joker or something. But anyways, no, great guy with a big smile. The personality does shine through as well. He is probably one of the coolest guys I have met online so far. I do want to meet him. He's from Edmonton. He's a fellow Canadian, and a whole bunch of work coming out from this guy. It's so amazing. The first time I heard of this guy was around 2018, so about 2 years ago. GBWC World Finals. We were the year before that. Simon Lam won GBWC for Canada 2017, and that was really cool. That was like part of our starting point of where Canada is being placed in the map. The second year after that, with Simon Lam trying to fight for his return, his title, out of nowhere, this guy Ryan Lau comes out and says, "Hey, you know what? My turn, son." So, without further ado, I do want to introduce you guys to Ryan Lau. Let's take a look at what. Ryan, how's it going?
Hi! Oh, good. Thanks for having me on your show, Ariel.
No, thanks
and
for
hello,
coming,
Internet.
Man. That is awesome. Ryan, how are you tonight, man?
Very good. And for the record, Simon is still like a champ in my books and always will be. And that guy is ungodly with his modeling. But anyways,
man. Yeah, no. Simon Lam, really good. And the thing is, like, we all know Simon too from our end. Like, he's also one of our friends, so it's fun to make poke of him. We're gonna poke on Nicholas Tejada Sanchez later on, but that will be a bit later. That's the first mention of Nicholas Tejada Sanchez. In Nicholas Tejada Sanchez, starring Nicholas Tejada Sanchez. Ryan, thank you again for coming into the show. How are you? What have you been up to? How are things with you, man?
Oh, very good. Yeah, no, very good. Like, I mean, I've had more chance to build recently, and so I was on kind of a year and a half hiatus, I guess. There were there were a lot of video games I wanted to catch up on after my GBWC kind of competition, but no, it's been really good. Yeah, life's been really good.
Awesome. Well, for those at home who haven't had a chance to meet you or get to know you as much as I have, maybe we could do a little bit of introduction on who you are, what you do for a living, what you do outside the hobby, that kind of stuff. But before we do that, why don't we go head over to the arena and start our quest there. So who is Ryan Lau?
Thank you. I'll start off with my profession, I guess. You know, as a profession, I work as a dentist. So my whole life, I've just really loved working with my hands and working with fine details. Right. And so I guess naturally, modeling is just something that I was drawn to, and so I'll talk about a little bit of my modeling journey later on, but after rediscovering Gunpla, actually even back then they never called it Gunpla, Gundam modeling, I guess, right? It wasn't really a thing back then, but ever since discovering that, I've really been drawn to it. And it's kind of interesting because during the day at my work, I work with a lot of fine details, but so when I go home at night, it's like I've just worked all day on these fine details, at home it's like, I don't have the energy to kind of like sand something or scribe something. So it's kind of funny how initially I was like, oh, this is translatable skills, which it is, but it's just funny after a while, like, so I have to really pace myself now, I kind of go really slowly at it too, and
there you go. That's our first point for the night, guys. Go slowly, use your hands, and see what transferable skills you could do from your work to your hobby. That is awesome. Right. I'm gonna start cycling through some of our photos here, and kind of get a feel of who Ryan is. Well, first off, Ryan
Yes.
It's a family, man.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of photos here of your lovely family. Great photos, by the way. Awesome family.
Thank you. Yeah, so I have two daughters. They're 5 and 7, and my wife is wonderful. My wife is actually also really amazing because she's also into crafts. Like she has a crochet and knit blog.
Right.
And so both of us often we find ourselves just crafting like beside each other. And so it's actually really cool because like a lot of times our girls are like, "Daddy, Mommy, play with us." It's not that we neglect our girls, but then we're like, okay.
Now the real side of Ryan is coming. Okay, so if social services is watching.
Yeah, exactly. It's really funny. And then like, but that's translated into our girls. Like, so for example, our older daughter started knitting and crocheting, and then like they've also started building Gunpla as well too. So it's actually really neat to see like how our crafting lifestyles has kind of modeled that behavior in their own lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and aside from that, like we also love like dressing up. You know, like we love going to like our local anime-thon and like different cons. We went to Anime Expo in LA one year.
Oh, nice.
And so you can probably see, like there's like a Totoro costume that we had that we made. Well, other than my hoodie, I bought mine online kind of thing, right?
Right.
Then we also, we went to Disneyland. I dressed up as like Prince Eric, and my daughter was like Snow White. So we love dressing up, and we're like not shy about that at all.
No, that's awesome.
So,
that's part of the whole fun of family activities together. I think what you're doing is really, really great. Awesome shots here too, by the way. So right now, what we have here, it looks like a giant gala. Is it the ball or something that you guys are dancing, right?
So exactly. So in Edmonton, there's actually this Pride and Prejudice ball. So Pride and Prejudice is my wife's like favorite book and story.
Awesome.
And so they dress up in the Renaissance period. And so that's, we had our outfits, and then we learned this whole dance, and it's just like those movies where there's like hundreds of people like just all dancing together in a round.
Right. That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, so that was a really it's really funny because I was joking with them. I was like, technically an Asian person back then would have their head shaved and ponytail in the back. So I was like threatening to like show up in that. So but yeah, no, it was awesome,
man. Like never limit yourself. Gunpla is freedom. If that's something that we learned from all of us here. I'm just going cycling through again. Very big Disney here. We got a Toy Story photo op.
Yeah, that was my daughter's most recent birthday, actually. So one of our traditions is I actually love to make also birthday cakes for them, and so that's one big tradition that we have. Simon Lamb also makes birthday cakes too. I know
Simon Lamb is a birthday cake. I'd love some of that sweet Simon Lamb.
Yeah, it's
sweet and sour Simon Lamb. All right,
that's right. And so one of the biggest traditions we have is basically making cakes, and so the next couple of series of cakes are all cakes that I've made, with fondant and stuff. One of my favorite ones is a Totoro cake that we made. That one took a lot of kind of pre-planning and like kind of sculpturing of the cake or carving kind of thing, but it was a lot of fun. My sister-in-law actually got me to make her wedding cake as well too. And
what did you make these out of? Like, are they like those frosting things? Like, what are the materials on this?
Yeah, great question. It's basically like fondant, so it's basically like sugar gummy, and then so you roll it out, and then you kind of lie it flat, and you kind of just cut different shapes out. But you need to have like a sub base of the cake first. Yeah, so it's actually really fun. It's like very translatable, scale to also the Gunpla, right?
Are these 1-to-1 scale?
I wish. That would be amazing. I should have put like something in there to show the scale.
Right. Let's put your hand, a lighter or something.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so I mean, that's one thing that I really enjoy doing and makes it special for the girls as well too. So yeah, and the Toy Story cake was the most recent one that I made. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun setting up a Toy Story themed birthday party for them. So
and it totally matches. So we're gonna get to that Toy Story right here. There we go. Is it.
Awesome.
Nice stuff. So wow, how long have you been doing the cake thing then? So ever since they were born, or recently,
ever since actually. For my older daughter's first birthday, my sister actually was here, and then so she like also knows how to make a lot of cakes. So she was the one who showed me like how to use it and how to make it and how to work with it. And then so after my daughter's first birthday, I guess that's when I started making their cake. So for the last like 5-6 years kind of thing.
Right.
And so I started off like with very simple ones, and later on, I just, wanted to try new things out. Kind of like in Gunpla, right? Like you try like simple things first, and then
translate over.
Yeah, that's right. So very similarly, yeah. So for the Toy Story cake, like each individual stitch was like a piece of candy, that I had to kind of like put around kind of thing to make it look like stitches. And so that took a while. Like I basically stayed up until like 3 a.m. making it, because that's another thing. I make it the day before, and so I can surprise them the morning of. And so but it was a lot of fun, like making that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Wow. So speaking of making this stuff, the next couple of photos here, you mentioned you love photography, because I also get some photos. Yes. We're talking about some cameras and all that stuff. Photography has become one of your what hobby, passion? What do we call it?
Yeah, great question. So basically, like when my wife was pregnant with our first daughter, I knew I wanted to take really nice photos and document their childhood, because childhood goes by so fast, right? And so that was when I decided to like do research into photography, pick up my camera, and then we did a lot of traveling that year as well too. And so a lot of these photos that you're seeing, the black and white ones, are all taken during our Japan trip, actually right before we were our daughter was due. And so that was when I was first really, I experimented a couple times elsewhere with photography, but that's really one of my really big passions is travel photography, but also kind of street photography.
Now, with your photography, I'm sure there's a lot of people also wondering, are you a Nikon, a Canon, Sony? what kind of camera do you use for your photography, man?
Great question. So I first started off using a Nikon, but it was way too big, and the image quality was awesome though, but it was just way too big to lug around, and when doing street photography, it was really difficult. So I ended up getting a Leica. So I got a Leica M9, so it's basically like a rangefinder.
Yeah, that's a sweet camera. Holy cow!
Yeah, and I've had the exact same camera since. So I've had the exact same camera for the last 9 years, I think.
Wow.
And I just love that camera because it's very, the image quality is amazing and it's very discreet. And it's just a pleasure to lug around, so, not lug, but hold.
Is this a digital camera, or is it like a film camera? Okay.
Yeah, it's a digital. So it's a digital full frame camera. It's a rangefinder camera. So everything is manual focus only. There's no autofocus. That's another really fun thing, because when you nail the focus, it's like kind of an accomplishment, And so
the sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of fun that way, because it's like every shot you take is kind of like a game, right? It's like, oh, will I get this right? And so I find a lot of pleasure in kind of shooting with that, and it kind of really slows me down, so I can make more time observing the scene. So
right.
Really into that, yeah.
No, it looks great, Ryan. Lots of photography. The next up here, we have a totally different thing. We're gonna start getting into the builds now. Very excited to really talk about all your other crafts here. We have it's a helmet. It's a Zeta helmet. Yeah.
So, okay. So this actually translates perfectly, because when we were in Japan, I was like, okay, you know what? I have to get a Gundam model,
Right.
So I went to every store, and I was like, as a kid, I always liked the design of the Zeta Gundam.
Yeah.
I still like it, but it's not like my favorite anymore, because my
no, get out of here. Okay, we're canceling the show. What the hell? You don't go to my house and say
it's my
Zeta.
second favorite.
Okay, top 3 I'll allow.
Top three. So I really like the design of the Zeta. And so when I was in Japan, I was like, I didn't even know, I forgot all the grades and stuff. Like I used to build like HGs and stuff, but I had no idea, right? So I was like, I want the best Zeta Gundam there is, right? And in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna get the truth be told, they actually don't make good Zeta Gundam models, actually.
Well, you're right.
The 2.0 is okay, but they're not that good. So I decided to get the biggest and the best, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get the PG Zeta. Right. And then I was like, I want exactly right. Yeah, big no, right? And so, but I didn't know, right? So I was like, I'm gonna get the PG Zeta. I'm gonna get the biggest, the best, right? And so, anyways, I bought it and I didn't build it for like 2 years. It was just like collecting dust, right?
When was this trip again? 2006?
This was 2009 or 10. 2010.
Oh, okay, so it's further along. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. And then so what I did though is that year we were going to Anime Expo in LA. And I saw a couple of guys online who made like Gundam costumes, right? Like full on like Gundam mech costumes. And I was like, dude, I totally would love to go to Anime Expo and make a Gundam costume to wear there, right? But then I live all the way in Edmonton. Like that's like in Canada, right? And that's a long drive. And so
where's Canada again? Just for this
it's north somewhere.
It's somewhere north,
between the States and North Pole.
Got it. Yeah. I heard the people are polite up there. Really nice folks.
Yeah, very cool. and so this is me starting. So I used the PG Zeta head. So I just built just the Zeta head to use as a model to build this whole costume. And then sorry, I'm kind of rushing there, but because I only got to building the helmet actually, because the helmet alone, and I didn't use any. There's like the Pepakura kind of paper craft kind of stuff. I didn't use that. I literally had to cut every single panel out of paper first and slightly measure it, and then I used like corrugated cardboard to like cut it out again and then glue it all together.
Right.
That helmet alone took 3 months to make, right?
Holy cow!
I know.
Dedication.
And I mean, I was, I was like a noob at it too, right? So after 3 months, I was like, man, I'm so like tired of. There's no way I can finish it in time. I'm so tired of it. It's winter time too, so to paint this thing, I would have to like, not have like icy cold winters because it was around winter time when I finished the helmet. And so in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finish the helmet. And I'm gonna stop there. I was pretty proud of it because I had LED like lights on it, and it
looks baller, man. It looks almost legit. Like you would wear that with your bicycle or something.
Yeah. I was tempted to wear it everywhere I went because I was so proud of it. But then eventually I was like, you know what? If I can't finish the entire suit, I might as well just finish my PG Zeta Gundam and get some satisfaction, because I felt like I didn't quite like complete it, right? I felt disappointed, right? So that's when I started working on my PG Zeta, and then so that kind of kick-started my more recent kind of Gunpla journey.
Okay. And we're gonna get to that Gunpla journey real soon. What we want to do right now is do a quick hello to everybody that just joined in. There's so many people, Ryan, here, and I just want to miss anybody over at Facebook Live. We have Simon Lamb, we have Nate He. They're saying yo, hey yo, and Simon G, multi-talent. Over at YouTube Live, lots of people as well here. We got Nicholas Tejada Sanchez. Wow, that's the first time I actually seen him live. Guy's super busy.
Thank you.
We have Jackie Luther from the States. Quizzy is joining us all the way from the Far East. Well, actually, no, Quizzy, you just got to UK, right? Like your flight wasn't that long ago. Jackie, R13, Brian. Let's see here. Jonathan Velasquez. Awesome intro. Your intro was awesome, by the way. Nicholas Yada, you mean the time you all went to Montreal without me, all right? Keeps bringing that up. Gunpla Razi is here. So, hey Chris, how's it going? He's saying Ryan! That's what he's saying right now. Let's see here. Continuing on. G Keto. Casually weathering some tooth at work. Okay, cool. A Gunpla. Hi everyone. Shout out from Winnipeg. That's cool. Fellow Winnipeg here. Let's see here. Continuing on. Quiz here. Oof, going to anime cons with my family. Nice. With the family. Nice. That's cool. They're just saying what's up to that. His positive vibes are so infectious. See, look at his freaking smile. He hasn't stopped smiling since talking with him last night, man. Seriously, I'll tell him a sad joke and he'll just laugh it off. Hobbyworks Randy is also here. Hiya. Ohio from Philippines. Okay, hey, how's it going for everybody from Philippines? Good morning to you guys out there. Mecha Painter. Hey, I know these people. What are they doing on YouTube? And he's calling you hipster camera brand. Jean Yubienko is joining us as well. Happy Saturday more everyone. Bro Builder is here. Hey Brian, how's it going? Didn't expect to see a Pepekura on the stream. But yeah, you don't know what to expect on AO Mecha, man. That's the cool thing about the show. Anything and everything can go and it will happen. From Jan, I like the Mark II better too, aesthetically. Let's see here. G Keto, the RG Zeta is a disaster. So I think everybody knows that by now. Queasy, the Harry who went to UK. That's Harry. Sorry, I got him confused. Sorry. Harry went to UK. Queasy is still in the Philippines. Okay. And Jackie, I'll probably be headed off 40 minutes for D&D. Look at that. We have diversity of people joining us tonight. So very, very cool to have you guys here. Why don't we go start right now with a bit of your work, and let's just start talking about some of your Gunpla journey. So what we have here right now, we have the Strike Rouge, and it looks like this is the It's that pack. Oh man, I cannot pronounce the damn name of it. What is this one? The backpack for the Strike Rouge. It's the Uzi Woosh. Is it the Uzi Woosh?
You know what? I actually don't know either.
Yeah. And that's what a pro builder says. You know, I don't know. It just looks cool. Yeah. So what's the story here with our Strike Rouge friend? I'll get the name from one of these guys soon.
Awesome. So basically, the next three builds you'll see, but starting with the Strike Rouge. So these were my early university builds, actually.
Okay.
And so this is when I just started dentistry, actually. And I was like, my hands were itching, and I was like, I want to build something. And around then was Seed, right? So it was Seed that kind of brought me back into Gunpla initially. And I started when I was like really young. Like, so maybe when I was 9, I built my first Gundam, and it was the Haikishiki. The original ones where you have to super glue everything. But that was a really long time ago, right? And then so now in my early university days, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to start building some Gunpla again. And I love Seed, so I'm just gonna build some of their suits, right? And so this time around, I was like, I remember when I was building as a kid, I never like did panel lining. I saw a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, actually had Gundams, in his apartment, and I remember going to his house to see, and I was like, dude, how did you get those like lines, those black lines? It's like, oh, panel lines, and I'm like, how do you do it? And then he's like, oh, there's these Gundam markers, that you can use, and I was like, what? And then so I did, because he's from Hong Kong, right? So he got all that stuff, and here there was nothing, and so
there wasn't.
I was like,
what year are we talking about here? This is like 2000.
This was 2003.
Yeah.
2004, 2005.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I remember I was like, well, I'll see if I can do the same using a brush and like enamel paint. At the time, I didn't even know it was enamel paint, but it was like enamel paint. And so I used the brush, and so you can see the panel lines are like very heavy and very uneven. But thinking back, I'm like, wow, it's actually not bad considering like I didn't have I just used just a brush, right?
Right.
But and I want to paint some details. So that was the start of my journey. The next 3 models are all ones where I just started kind of hand painting, and I just knew I kind of wanted to customize a little bit. I feel like as a start, a lot of times people always like to paint some of the sticker colors first. Because a lot of those sticker colors can be very tacky. It doesn't look good. It doesn't stay on, right? And so that was kind of my beginning.
So just circling back, it's the O Tori, and that is from Nate E, the backpack. I knew it was the O. I just forgot to tip my tongue what it was. Moving along to your builds here. Obviously, you started off with Seed. Did you actually watch the anime as well while you were doing this?
Yes, yeah. So I watched all of Seed before I started building the models.
Right.
And so I like, at that time I was like, wow, this is amazing. To tell you the truth, very early on, I didn't know much about Gundams. I just knew that like the RX-78-2 was like the figurehead of Gundams, right?
Yeah.
And then so Seed was really my first intro into this whole like world.
Nice.
And so
it was the next. Sorry, like we're just looking at the next one here. This is now Double O. Did you actually watch that as well? Did you continue watching the rest of the series?
Yes. So the Double O is like a jump maybe many years later. So this is after I got married, after I had my 2 children. Like actually the Quanta actually was done after my PG Zeta. So doing my PG Zeta, going back to PG Zeta, that was around like 2015, 2016.
Right, so that's further down.
Yeah. I worked on my PG Zeta, and I wanted to paint this time. Like I see all these people do like airbrush paints, but I was too scared to do airbrush paint, to invest in everything. So this is actually a really good tip too, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to invest in airbrush painting, but I kind of want to paint my Gundam. So what I did is I actually did spray cans painting.
Oh, okay. So following Nicholas Teada Sanchez's
footsteps. Yeah, that's right.
But unlike Nicholas, though, you actually went and gone ahead to airbrush. So just saying, that's why he's 2018 champ.
Well, I also was not very good at spray can painting, unlike Nico.
Okay.
But it was really good because it taught me kind of the general principles, like washing the it's debatable whether or not you need to wash them. I like to wash them, kind of thing. Priming, and then putting the most satisfying part was putting on bamboo skewers and then like painting it, because I was like, whoa, I feel like those legit guys,
legit guys.
When you pose all the, not that if you don't do that.
I'm validating myself right now. Hang on. I'm a pro builder now.
It was one of the best feelings, honestly. Like after priming it and painting, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I changed the color of that, you know?
So
and even
the Quanta we're looking at here, was this hand painted or is this the actual painted?
So the Quanta was my very first airbrush kit.
Right.
And so after my PG Zeta, I was like, I like painting. So I bought all this airbrushing stuff, like the whole setup. But there was another lull there too. There's maybe like a 2-year lull. Okay. And then finally I was like, you know what? I have this Quanta. I want to build it. I want to paint it. Right. And I heard like RGs are really beautiful. So you don't really have to mod it, but if you paint it, it's kind of
gonna stand out.
Yeah, it's gonna stand out more, right? And so, so I painted this. I just desaturated a lot of the colors. You'll see a little theme later on. I love desaturated colors. And then I used the water slide decals from the HG Quanta.
And that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so I had to recut a lot of those to fit it. So, but that was like one of my biggest early successes. I was like, wow, I love the way
you feel it right after that.
That's what
awesome.
got me hooked. Yeah. Yeah.
The next one over, are we gonna jump into the Zeong? The Neo Zeong right now. This is the SD. I mean, it looks amazing. I was looking at some of the photos again last night. Lots of details. So this is still kind of straight out of the box kind of build, right? Like there's not much modifications.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of details on the armor. So why don't we talk about some of the stuff that you worked on this one? What was your workflow like now? And how many kits have you worked on since from I guess the Quanta to this guy here?
Andrew's gonna laugh at me, but I've only built maybe a handful of kits, actually customized maybe a handful. So this SD Neo Zeong is the second kit that I airbrushed. So literally you're seeing it like in chronological order. So this one over here, I can't take credit for the design. Well, mind you, the design is slightly different, but basically the inspiration came from one of my favorite mecha painters, Seth Tuna. I love Seth Tuna. That guy is like a master at different paint styles, creative paint styles. He's amazing mods on his Gunpla and also LEDs work and stuff. But this one was inspired by one of his SD Neo Zeongs. And so it was really funny because this one I wanted to kind of also paint, right, but also do a little bit more, you know, like you see the design in the back skirt and also on the shoulder areas, right? And so this here I really wanted to challenge myself to kind of learn how to mask, right? Because there's with SD kits there's a lot of masking involved. Like if you look at just the SD Senanju, there's like a before and after photo.
Yep, I have it on right now. So
awesome.
we have the before and after. So right now, from on your left hand side, we have the before. It's all. But the thing I like about the SD, specifically with this one, is you have a lot of like plate surfaces that you could also, if you're not scribing, you could definitely mask out and paint that up. That's awesome.
Exactly. There's like a lot of detail there, right? And like this is the very first time I learned the reverse wash technique too. Which was like magic when I first did it, I was like, this is like, I'm a wizard. That's it.
Dentists are wizards now, right?
And it was such an amazing feeling. Like honestly, the whole time I was pretty like uncertain how it would turn out. Because I'm pretty anal about trying to get things as perfect as possible, right? And so there was a lot of areas where I was like, will this turn out right? I spent probably like 90% masking, you know, and like most of the time this build was all masking. You can see later on in the back skirt where it was like all mask. In hindsight, I'm gonna do it completely different now, right?
It's all about progression though. Like you grow from what you've learned, improve upon that, try new stuff in the next round. Just a couple of comments here. Really interesting. There's a shout out from Brian Brobuilder. Great work for your second airbrush build. Just saying kudos to that one.
Ryan, I'm a huge fan of yours too, my friend. I love your work.
And this is Nathan from Edmonton Gunpla Group saying hello. So you have another Edmontoner coming into that. And then Nicholas is calling me Ariel Fail because I totally forgot about the old story.
Don't worry, I didn't know.
I know, right? No,
I'm the builder.
I know, dude. I was asking you. I was like, okay, I'm gonna set myself up so that he could look better. And he's like, I don't know what that is. Well, then we're both swimming upstream. What I have here is the taping. You were just talking about taping. Yes. Lots of intricate shape. How many layers? How many tapes? How many redo? Like, tell me about this. What's going on?
Yeah, great question. So from this one, I actually learned a lot of things. And so with the Neo Zeong, they actually have a lot of details of like energy cables or whatever, like on the side of the side skirt. Right. And so that was all masked off so it could be painted a separate color. because everything's molded all in red, right? But I
Yes.
wanted to separate all the colors of all the
Yes,
details
yes,
that I saw.
yeah.
And then I painted everything. So then I masked those cables or whatever, energy cable. I don't even know what that's called. I'm sorry, guys. Someone can correct me. And then
They're spaghetti noodles.
okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I masked off those spaghetti noodles. and then after that, I painted everything red, right?
Right.
And then so my rationale at first was ideally you would paint everything gold, right? And then you would tape that pattern there.
Right,
and then
right.
You would paint everything red, and then you'd reveal the tape to show the gold stripe.
Did
right?
you have a pattern in mind, or was this as you go?
I had a pattern in mind. So with a lot of my my builds, I'm always like, it's all premeditated. Like I always like think about it or plan it out well in advance before executing it or drawing it out at least, you know. And so yeah,
Dude, you should have sent some of that sketches because Brian is now posting his artwork. I want to see some of those hand sketches of yours.
I saw Brian's sketches of his feet. That was so beautiful.
It is cool.
My sketch is nowhere near his level, but mine's literally like, you know, like stickman kind of thing, right?
Hey, I want to see it regardless. We're gonna get some artwork master here from Ryan Lau. But yeah, I mean, it looked really good. The design really came out for this one, and then you used the reverse wash to get the rest of the color out of that. Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, what was your learning experience now that this is from your first? Okay, what is the biggest learning experience you took from your first kit to your second?
Okay, so the number one thing I learned was proper thinning ratios. The back skirt here, you actually can't see that well, but if you saw this kit in person, I didn't thin the primer enough. And so on the back skirt, at first I was thinking like, it was such a big surface. So I was painting from really far back to kind of get an even coat. But what was happening was the primer was actually curing before hitting the surface. And so I was getting a very like pebbly surface, but I didn't know why that was the case. So that kind of ruined like every other layer on top. And so with this build, I learned a lot about the proper thinning ratios of things, you know, maybe not specifically the ratio, but at least how it should look, you know.
Just to get that right mixture and paint ratio.
That's right. Because it was disappointing because I spent all that time masking, but my painting kind of messed it up a little bit. I mean, not too bad, right? But when you look really closely, you can kind of see that it's a little bit more kind of pebble texture, you know. And I didn't know how to fix it because at first I was like, oh, I'm just gonna spray tons of gloss coat over, and then I'm gonna spray tons of matte coat over. I'm just gonna coat over everything, and then it'll smooth out. But that wasn't the case because it was the primer underneath that was actually
already bumpy or texture on that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I learned the most from this. Yeah.
Awesome. We're gonna continue on with Ryan here with more stuff here. We're gonna do a quick break. Ryan, lots of stuff we're gonna talk about. I think the next couple of ones are your actual GBWC builds. I'm looking forward to that. I just want to say a quick hi to everybody again on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Hope you guys are having a good night tonight. We're joined by Ryan Lau. We'll be right back after this video, so stay tuned. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the stream, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. I just want to let you guys know about an amazing online community that I'm part of, and it's called Side 6. Here, you will find like-minded modelers and hobbyists who enjoy the mecha and gunpla genre. We encourage posting of whips, projects, and tutorials to help each other move forward in our hobby and in our community. We are always open to new members of all skill levels, so come check us out at facebook.com/groups/side6. We also have an Instagram where we feature members' works, and you can find that at instagram.com/side6_mecha. For all new club information, resources, and news, you could check out our website at www.side6.club. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there. All right, welcome back, guys. If you guys are just tuning in, good evening, good morning, and welcome to AO Mecha Live. We are joined by Ryan Lau, out from Edmonton, Gunpla enthusiast. Gunpla enthusiast. Look at this guy; he's so enthused. And if you are on mute, we are good to go back and chat with Ryan. Just a couple of people joining us here. Andrew Young. Ryan isn't wearing a suit. Blasphemy. Blasphemy. That's ooh, I don't know about that. If he needs to wear a suit, I definitely am underdressed for this. R13 is building another kit while watching. Good man models. Ryan, your Zaku Sway build was super, and we're actually gonna get to that build as well in the show. But why don't we go back into the arena and take a look at some more builds from Ryan. So here we have a nice blue Zaku. I'm gonna say Zaku on this one. It's a custom. What year is this? Like what's your base kit on this one? This feels like one of those Origins.
So first of all, this bow tie's for Andrew. I just made a tape just now. Anyways, I hope
this is so gonna make the cut. So at season 1, I'm gonna cut all the craziest moments that we've had, and this just made it. I thought that with Xiao Yang sniffing primer was gonna take the cake. No, we got Ryan Lau in his amazing bow tie. Let's go back to this one. Let's gander at this real quick. Holy sh!
No. This is made from this, man.
We should have at least like made it to like the triangle and stuff.
Yeah, I know. No time.
We'll roll with that. Oh my god. Okay.
Sorry. Okay. So the
composure. We're still doing a show, Ryan. What the hell?
Okay. I'm having too much fun, buddy.
No, you are. No, this is all about fun. Be as crazy and fun as you can. The bow tie. You know what? That completes a suit. It really brings out your baby blue eyes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Like the baby blue in this Zaku.
See where I was going with that? One final comment from Andrew Young. Good man. Where's the jacket? Is the other question.
Okay.
So after the next break, he's gonna start sporting a duct tape shirt thing going on. So we're gonna get you your jacket, Andrew, for sure.
Okay, so this Zaku.
Yes.
Okay, so awesome. So this is what really kind of kick-started my entire more recent Gunpla journey. One of my favorite Gunpla YouTubers, you being also one of them, Ariel. But one of my favorite, Zaku Aurelius. I love the guy. I feel
great guy.
I feel like his Gunpla journey coincided with mine in his early days of his channel, and so I was learning alongside him, and I feel this camaraderie, you know. And so, anyways, but he was holding this custom Zaku contest. And so immediately when he held this, I was like, "Oh, dude, I totally will need to participate." You know.
Nice.
And so that was my very first. So once again, this is shortly after the SD Neo Zeong, right, that I made.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? I've never built a custom before, but I want to try my hand at it. You know. and so this is also the very first time I scribed a single panel line, or not a single, but several panel lines on the model.
Getting all dangerous, living on the dangerous, huh?
I wanted to kind of push myself as much as I could at the time with what I knew, right? And so, so for this custom Zaku, I scribed some panel lines, not major ones, but simple ones, right?
Right.
And then I replaced the spikes on the shoulder with the builder's part spikes, the sharper ones.
Yeah. That's an add-on, but it's a pre-made, but it's an add-on to it.
Exactly. Cool. Which was actually tricky for me to figure out. I don't know how people do it normally or how you're supposed to do it, but it was tricky for me because I drilled out the old spikes and then there was an hole, and then I just had to glue the new spike in, but then I had to glue these plot plates, like 3
underneath or something.
And then I glued the spike on top. And so that was the real kind of, I felt really proud at the time. I was like, oh, sweet, I just changed up the spikes, right? And so, so the hardest part about this whole build was scribing the details on the head, because that was the first time I ever scribed on a rounded surface. And so I was also I left that at the very end. So at the very end of my scribing, I scribed the rest of the stuff and then I scribed that at the very end.
Oh, wow.
And then I just added that ammo pack on the back. It was a Kotobukiya part, I think.
Yes, that's from the ammo drum with the
with the belt,
the right?
ammo belt. Yeah, exactly. And then I just wanted to make, and my very first kit bashing was making that beam Gatling gun.
Right.
So that was just with it was nice. With the Bandai kind of builders parts Gatling gun thing, and that added
a rocket pod, got sensors. Yeah. It's like how much weapon do you want on this gun? And you're just like yes.
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 Yes to it all. Yeah.
That looks great. And how did you do in the contest, by the way?
So this is the crazy thing. So I remember waking up in the morning and I was like, this is when he's gonna announce the winner, right? So he was going through like the honorable mentions first, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not in the honorable mention, right? I'm like, it's okay. Like maybe I'll get like third place, right? And then so he said the third place winner, second place winner. Right. And honestly, like they were all really good. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, there were between two that I didn't really, that it was hard for me to decide, between the first and second place, but I chose based on what I like as an aesthetic. And the reason why I also like the Zaku release is because I feel like we have very similar tastes in Gunpla and in Gunpla aesthetics and even color choice. And so he ended up choosing mine as the winner.
Nice.
And I was floored. Like I honestly screamed. I jumped out of bed and I screamed. I was like, I can't believe it! Right?
I can only imagine how much wider your smile is.
Yeah, I was like,
when you got that. So what was your first initial reaction? Like, what was your first thought when you heard that?
My first thought was like, wow, he said my name on his YouTube channel.
Nice.
My second thought was like, wow, my Gunpla is being shown on his YouTube channel, right? And then finally, third, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I won. This is my very first competition I ever won.
Wow, that's
at least
awesome.
First place. Yeah, this is my very first place ever. And so it was probably, and honestly, at the time, I was like, before even this, I was looking at GBWC videos, and I was like, wow, GBWC is such an amazing event. I remember watching Joshua Dara's 2015 GBWC recap on YouTube.
Yes, I remember
and I was
too.
And I was like, man, this is such an amazing event. Oh, too bad Canada's not part of it. Little did I know they could have participated in the North America section, what he and Andrew did.
Exactly.
But I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know at the time, and I was like, oh, Canada's exempt from it. And it was also a couple months after this when Canada announced that they would be a country that would compete in GBWC. And so this is what really kickstarted it. I was like, man, I want to build something for 2017 GBWC.
And you did. And we're gonna get to that right after this. Congratulations on this win. One comment here from Brian, Bro Builder. Zaku contest, you say? Sounds familiar. Because I think Brian also.
Brian?
Yes,
oh,
he was
really?
also there. Yeah.
Oh.
So you totally kicked his ass. Hey Brian, step up your game. This Canadian boy is calling you out. He's talking shit about you. Oh my God. No, Brian is so cool, so chill. And for those of you guys who have not caught the last feature builder last Saturday, Bro Builder, Brian, then Clow. He was featured. Please check it out. YouTube.com/AOMecha. It is on the feature builder episodes. Great guy, amazing guy, an artisan to heart. So you know what? Give him a shout. And I know that Ryan is also a big fan of Brian, and that's my rap for tonight. Good night.
And he ain't lying.
Okay, no, we're done. We're gonna get to GBWC talks because I think the next couple here are very excited to talk about is the GBW's entries. So I am looking at, I remember this is the first time I saw this work because it was 2017 was the year.
Yes.
This was one of the finalists for the regions, I believe, for Canada, not East. You participated where for this one?
So this was actually online.
Right.
And so
okay.
Yeah. So I actually lost to Simon online.
Ooh,
and so
how did that feel?
Oh, it was sour until I found out how amazing Simon is, and then I was like, "Yay! I came second to him."
You should next time you meet him in person, just sniff him, and it's like, so that's what you smell like from back here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. So go on.
I remember seeing a couple of Simon's builds. I think Simon wasn't as active before, but he was getting back into Gunpla then too.
Right.
And so and so when I saw Simon's build, without a doubt, I was like, oh man, that's such a beautiful custom, right? And so I honestly it was kind of sad because I wanted to win a trophy. So long story short, I did end up winning third place. So I did get the bronze trophy. But at first when I found out I got I got second online, right? So when I found out I got second online, I was like, oh man, that sucks, right? Because I probably won't get a trophy, right? Because all I wanted was just a Gundam trophy. I didn't care if it was
you know what I'm gonna do for 2020 because it didn't happen. I'm actually just gonna make a replica of that. I'm gonna carve it out of wood.
Yes.
Get a I don't know, a PG RX 78, plop it on top. But it's not gonna be any color like this. It's just gonna be straight up like neon orange, and we'll have AO Mecha symbol on the side of it. And it's like, yeah. So what now? Where's your god?
That's so funny.
Let's talk about your build though. Let's before we get to the price. Congratulations on your win on this, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm very curious, and I'm sure everybody that's watching right now. What is now your workflow? There's obviously a lot of changes since your first couple of kits.
Yes.
You are now, you're doing more customization. You're doing more colors, more parts added onto it. Why don't we go talk about that? First I have here is your before and after shots, and then we're gonna go through all the other photos as well.
Perfect. Yeah, so basically like for this one here, because with my Zaku, I did just a little bit of light scribes, right? Like maybe like 6 lines, right? For this one, I was like, you know what? I want to like do a lot of scribing. I want to, every single plastic surface, I want to do something to, you know?
Nice.
And so at the time, this took me a really long time to conceptualize how to design panel lines. To tell you the truth, I actually didn't really know the concept. I just knew general basics of panel line design.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel like that is a whole other field. I'll talk about this a little bit later, you know. And I still don't have a firm grasp of it, but this is my very first time where I had to look at everything as a whole, you know.
Right.
One of my biggest inspirations with this is Joshua Dara.
Yes.
And that guy is like super meticulous. Like he is like, if I'm like 70% meticulous, he's like 150% meticulous.
A little bit more, but yeah, you're very
generous.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm flattering myself there. Yeah, sorry. But you know, I would just marvel at like how he would completely morph something. And him and I are similar, but he's obviously way better. But like him and I are similar in that we like to subtract to add details. So in other words, we like to scribe away details, or we like to scribe, we like to carve in details as opposed to like additive, you know? And so, I mean, I did add some flat plates to here, right? But I would say maybe 75-80% of it was all from scribing work, you know?
So right now, what I have here, we have the side view of the arm here, kind of showing like, so is this something like I see some scribe work definitely on the forearm here, and then you have a little bit of a drill on the side. On that one, just it's such a minute accent, but it has like a really powerful impact. Is that something that you would have expected, or kind of just like, let's try it and see how it works kind of deal? What were you?
Yeah, I love how you're mentioning the forearm, because it was actually the forearm that gave me the biggest trouble on how to design the panel lines. I drew maybe like 20 different iterations of the forearm. And what I would do, so this is kind of my workflow, I guess, right? Is like I would do a lot of research before. I would look at every single GM sniper. Now this, at the time, GM sniper was still a relatively new kit. So not too many people had done customs of it at that point. In fact, after, I always knew I wanted to paint it in the white dingo colors. So after when I had already settled on that and actually primed it and painted the first white layer, that's when the P Bandai white dingo got released.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I was gonna say, there's a P Bandai white dingo that's coming.
And I'm like, oh great, now everyone's gonna think that I just made the P Bandai version, you know? I was like, oh, that sucks, right? Because like, you know, the whole time I always loved the white dingo version, right?
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, so going back to the forearm, like, I wanted to show like mechanical reveals. That's actually a general theme with a lot of my builds. Like moving on is like I want to show the inner frame or some mechanical reveals somehow. But I don't want to make it like take over the whole thing. I want it to be subtle. I want it to be like when people look at it, they'll be like, "Oh, look at those panels! Oh, look at that!
You want to draw them closer because there's like a little bit of more detail into that. That looks really good. Yeah, it also translated to the rest of your body. So we're looking at the legs here as well.
Yes.
Again, similar theme. You kind of cut open. I love the panel cutaway that you did as well there. So that is, how did you do that? Like for those guys who don't know the process, can you do a quick 101 on how you would do an open, I wouldn't say open hatch. This is more like what do you call it? Like a
reveals,
like
mechanical reveals, right? Yeah. So the way I did it there is actually different than how I do it now. I'll talk about how I do it now, but basically what I do is I basically scribe out that area, and I just keep on scribing deeper and deeper and deeper until that piece breaks off. And then I use chisels to refine kind of the angles as best as I can, and then I finally sand it. And so
did you use what's it called? Like you would pencil it first and then do diamond tape and then scribe and all that stuff for
That's
it,
right, exactly.
Okay.
So basically I would come up with a full design first. So then I would know exactly like which area I need to do reveals. And then also look underneath in the inner frame, see if there's anything interesting that I could add there.
Right.
So that it actually shows an interesting reveal. Because if you're cutting off something that like doesn't have space for you to add detail to, then you can either add another plate there to add some detail, but I kind of wanted to think of strategic spots where I could slide something in there.
And add a little bit more giblets and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So right now, moving on to the white dingo, we're just talking about white dingo. The your white GM Sniper custom white dingo custom colors. The base on this one, we're looking at the full thing now. What can you tell us? Like, what were we just going for? It was just like more of a base as an add-on, or was there a story behind it?
Great question. So this base actually, for the longest time I had the MG Mark II Gundam, and this base comes with that kit. This is actually also the same base that Nico used actually for his entry. It's such an amazing base. I love this base, and in fact that's why I got the MG Mark II. Because I wanted the space.
Not the Mark II itself. It's just like,
I love the Mark II too. Actually, the Mark II is my favorite kit. That's the one kit that I use the most for kit bashing. Like, to tell you the truth, like that kit has been the most used. I never built it completely, but I've used its parts in all 3 of my next builds, kind of thing. So I have a lot to thank for that kit. But this base was built on it. It was built from that, and I modified it. The arm used to be behind the dingo, in front of the dingo, but I cut it off, so I moved it to the back of the dingo, it wouldn't block the dingo. And then I wanted to add just some like human element to it,
giving it scale kind of thing too, right?
Exactly, to show the scale, right? At the time, because of if the mobile suit stands in that base, it looks very rigid because the feet are facing straight forward. And so I knew from the very beginning that I didn't want the dingo to stand on that base because he would have a very like rigid straight pose kind of thing.
Yeah, so, like a final mission.
Well, no, his is beautiful. Nico's is beautiful. No.
I see a theme here. No, we're just poking. He's great. No, Nico loves getting poked at.
Yeah, but with this one here, Nico, I love your final mission. But anyways, this one I had him kind of in a flying pose, right? So one of my biggest critiques, and I got this. So another thing too is I actually entered this into our local IPMS competition, and I actually took home gold and also the best sci-fi model too. But one of the judges' biggest comments about it was like, he's like, you know what? He's like kind of in a suspended flying pose, which kind of, it's like a suspension of reality because like, pardon the pun, because like there's no like fire under him, there's no smoke. Why would people like be so close to him when he's like flying up? So I actually really appreciated that comment because I was like, I never thought about that. I just thought like, he's just taking off, like, but that's true. Like you would see smoke, you would see,
some kind of like activation of some kind.
That's right. That's right. And so the reason why I mentioned that is because that changes what I do for my next model.
Right. And we're gonna talk to that next model, but like before this one, so you won the online competition. We have this is the bronze.
Yes. The
medal?
Bronze. Yeah.
It looks gold. Actually, when I saw that, because I had to take this from I took it from your Instagram, by the way, because like you didn't send it. Cheap bastard.
Sorry.
This guy. I go to him. Hey, do you have any GBWC stuff? He's like, yeah. Okay, cool. Where's this guy? This guy making me work. No, it's good. Okay, congratulations on that. Let's do a quick round on the comments here. Lots of stuff happening. Derek is also saying hello from Facebook. Sin is also watching from Facebook, so there are lots of stuff happening there. Over at YouTube Live, I'm gonna like scroll back a little bit just because like there's a lot of comments from our Zaku area here. Let's see. IBO build up surface. From Andrew Young, good man. Okay, where's the jacket? Okay, there we go. I had to scroll up, sorry. From Randy Ocampo, nice Zaku. From Jan, I love those colors. The tones are fire. Nicholas Ciata Sanchez is saying awesome Zaku. Everybody's just like really in awe with the Zaku. Again, really great build on that one. Love the Zaku. Clean work. That is from Good Man Models. From Bro Builder, he was talking about how he did the Zaku as well. And then we made a comment about that, so he did reply. he did the mic drop, and then he goes straight up called out. Yeah, he's kind of straight up called out. Oh man, that's how we make friends, You put them together and hash it out. From Andrew Young, super clean. I don't have a full grasp of drawing panel lines. A lot of baloney. He's saying a lot of baloney on that. Miguel Crespo is joining us. Miguel, how's it going? Let's see here. Continuing on with a little bit. I'm skipping a lot of the comments here. Sorry, guys. Just want to get to the main point so we get that. Love the white dingoes. That's from Goodman Models.
Oh, thank you.
Nicholas Tejada Sanchez. Awesome base. The Mark II is awesome. Bro Builder, not a fan of the 3.0 hands in the P Bandai version. Otherwise, quality is all round good. 1 point for you, Ariel. That's from Nicholas Tejada Sanchez. Andrew Young, all the exhaust burning those pilots crisp.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Ryan, from Nico. And R13, seeing those up close, jealous. I want the black trophy as well. We're going to get to those black trophies as well. What time is it now? We're going to do a quick break. We're going to get back to some more Q&A. We're going to get back to some more show and tell with Ryan here. Stay tuned and check out this video. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ariel from AO Mecha. I just want to let you guys know about all my other social media outlets if you haven't had a chance to check them out at facebook.com/AOMecha, on YouTube, youtube.com/AOMecha, on Instagram, instagram.com/AO_Mecha, on Twitter, at AO_Mecha, and on Discord, fairly new. That one is AO_Mecha, #3414. Anyways, hope to hear from you guys through any of those platforms. Feel free to DM me or PM me, as well as emailing me. My email is aomecha.info@gmail.com. Just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by USA Gundam Store. Please check them out, www.usagundamstore.com, and save on your purchases when you use my discount code AOMecha10. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there.
Welcome back, guys. My name is Ariel. If you guys don't know yet, I am AO Mecha, and we're joined by Gunpla enthusiast Ryan Lau, joining us tonight at AO Mecha Live for an AO Mecha Live experience. I'm just gonna keep saying AO Mecha because like that bugs Nico a lot, so I just shout out to Nico. But yeah, we are joined with Ryan Lau. If you're just tuning in, we were just talking about his previous build. That was his first blood taste. His white dingo of the GBWC trophies. But it didn't stop there, did it? It did not stop. You wanted more. This man was hungry. Oh my god. The next photos we're gonna get to, and I think this is one of my favorite ones as well from your set here, really sets Ryan now in a world stage platform. And that's gonna be towards the end, but like let's talk about the journey on that. Let's go back to the arena. This guy here. Wow. I'm not even gonna talk after this. Can you describe what am I looking at and what is it called?
Okay, so this is the Kshatriya Repaired. And so one of my favorite pilots is Marita Cruz. And so I just love, obviously, the Kshatriya that she pilots. And so I wanted to, and you know, everyone's always saying like, oh man, like I want an MG Kshatriya, right? Like we have the HG, but I want an MG, right? And there's like really expensive resin kits out there. So part of me was like, okay, you know what? I want to kind of make a highly detailed Kshatriya. Like I had this Kshatriya, like, sorry, to make a long story short, I was actually working on the Advance of Zeta gigantic arms unit for my GBWC 2018. And so I was pairing like an MG Hazel with like the Psycho Gundam's arms kind of thing.
That
and
big giant arm, massive
that's
arm.
right. But I want to play with some proportions between HG and MG and stuff like that. So I was working on that for like 3 months. And then I was like, okay, as a palette cleanser, I kind of want to like just build up the Kshatriya, you know, just because I always wanted to build it. So I built it up and I left it on my nightstand. And then so I continued working on my gigantic arms unit, right? And then finally, every night I was...
Question, before we get to that, did you actually post any photos of the whips of your giant arm anywhere?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because I was scouting through I sniffed through your garbage, I went through your email, and man, I hired a private detective just to look at your stuff. This is the first time we're hearing this guy having like a secret giant arm. This guy's hiding. What else are you hiding from me and your wife?
This is PG-13, man.
Oh,
but
yeah, go on.
But yeah, so I was looking at this Kshatriya every single night, and I was like, man, this suit is so beautiful. Like the design of it is just so awesome. You know, I'm like generally, it's really funny. I feel like now I'm becoming more of a Zeon fan, but like all along I was always more Fetties.
Fetties, yep, and it
I
shows
just
too. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. And then, but I just loved the way this design was. So then I actually ditched my gigantic arms unit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start playing around with this and see what I can do, right? And then so that's what started my work on this. And then as I was doing more research into it, because you see the Kshatriya Repaired, and then you see the Kshatriya, right?
Right.
And then in my mind, I was like, I kind of want to be a little, play with it, right? And I'll be like, well, how did the Kshatriya look like between the Kshatriya Repaired and Kshatriya regular, right?
Right.
And then so I looked at the lore, and I was like, there's actually a Kshatriya called Kshatriya Besarang, right?
Yes.
And I was like, that's amazing. I was like, I want to do that, because they actually had the Kshatriya kit and the Kshatriya Repair kit, right? So I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna make the Kshatriya Besarang, right? And I'm gonna do a little twist on it, right? Like, I didn't like the thing I hated the most about the Besarang is the axe arm kind of thing that it has. And it's like, I thought it was really weird, and like the peg leg, like
the peg leg machine gun.
Yeah.
Let's step back before we get to the peg leg machine gun. I'm gonna guess, and you could say yes or no to this one. Did you watch Quentin Tarantino's movies, the double feature? It was like a long time ago. It was like literally.
Yes, it was like a shotgun in the leg, right?
Yeah, it was it's a machine gun.
Oh, machine gun.
Like
okay.
a rifle. Sorry, it's like a rifle. Yeah.
One.
So in my head, when I saw that, like on the show on the Unicorn series. Yeah. And I saw that, and I'm like, I'm just imagining Quentin Tarantino laughing his ass off, going like, well, you know what? It's fine, like I like to do that stuff, with his nose and everything. That's a horrible Quentin Tarantino impersonation, by the way, but you know what I mean? Like that's my first initial thought, and then you mentioning that, like, oh, I don't like the leg, and I'm like, well, I don't know how Quentin feels about that, but you did it well.
I'm sorry, Quentin Tarantino, if you're watching this.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to him. I'm gonna send it to his Twitter. I'm gonna call him out. Hey, Quentin, we mentioned you on our show. Check it out. Hashtag peg leg. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Peg leg.
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to do these changes on it. Immediately I was like, I'm gonna do something with the arm, and I'm gonna do something with the leg, right?
Right.
But I'm gonna make it look still repaired, right? And the in hindsight, the awesome thing with this is that I only needed to mod one limb. The hardest thing I feel is duplicating your mods. And so even with the binders, I only had to scribe one binder, with legs, only one leg, with arm, only one arm. And so I was like, wow, in hindsight, this is actually amazing, right? I don't have to duplicate this, right? And so
I'm going through the rest of your photos here, just so like I'm not sure if you want to talk about it in order, but like we were just talking about the skirt. Sorry, I had the skirt on, and then now we're talking about legs. So you didn't do it as a symmetrical thing, right? For the limbs, because like I know that you still kept the repaired feel to it.
Yes.
So what are some of the modifications and techniques that you applied now for your build as you were working?
Awesome. So I was doing I was experimenting more with plow plates additions, right? But still not too much, right? But the biggest thing was more kit bashing. And so with the peg leg, like I was talking about, it just dawned on me one time. I always kind of liked Barbatos's hands, the spiky hands,
right,
the pointy hands, and also his feet. And so I thought it would pair really well with the Kshatriya, kind of the repair look. Not with the red, right? Yes. But after everything's painted like that, because it looks like it's kind of like this inner skeleton of how his normal feet are like, right? And so the front foot, I always knew I wanted the Barbatos foot there, the Barbatos lupus. Nice. The calf area was actually totally by surprise. One time I was like, I had the lupus HG lupus parts all across my table, and I was just looking at, I was like, man, that torso inner frame looks so beautiful.
Did you use the full mechanics lupus?
No.
Or
so this is the
high
HG,
grade, okay.
The high grade, yeah. And then so I was like, this torso has to be used in my model somehow,
Right.
And so I was just literally like putting it in different areas, and I'm like, oh man, this will look perfect as a calf, and the size of it was perfect too.
And you also have that bend, that like almost like a reverse bend.
That reverse bend, exactly, right?
Nice.
And so I was like, man, this is so perfect. So that really kind of helps seal in the whole image. The side tank thing is from the gun of the unicorn, the unicorn gun. And so, and I wanted to add some cables and pipes kind of leading into it kind of thing. Like, once again, like the repaired look kind of thing. No, that leg and even the arm, right? Like the arm has those two cables kind of leading into it, the pistons you see, right?
Yeah, I have it now on screen here. But quickly before we do that, like we were just talking about the repair version kit has this weird kind of like lanky axe thing that like is it scary? No. And then you're like, hang on, hold my beer. Let me let me fix that. What are the parts am I looking? There's a lot of like tubing here. There's what's going on?
Great question. So yeah, exactly. Immediately I knew I wanted to cut that off, right? Because that thing is so lanky, like it's just so out of character. I hated that arm. And so the arm is actually paired with the HG Lupus Rex forearm.
Right.
And the hands is the builder's parts, the Jigen build knuckles, but the Zeon ones, so they're more dynamic. But I actually cut each individual finger so I can bend it like this. Mm-hmm. So it's holding the saber at an angle kind of thing. And then the pistons are from the MG Mark II.
Right.
And then the cables are actually headphone wires.
Oh.
So those were like the perfect bend that I can get, and they're flexible.
Right.
And I didn't even need to paint them because I kept them black. And so, and a bunch of those other small details, those are all like, builders parts, like additions and stuff. Or what I like to do is I like to take details from rifles or guns from other kits, because they have a lot of really fine, intricate details. Mm-hmm. And then, just cut them all up and glue them together kind of thing like that.
That looks really good. The next one here, we're going to continue on with the rest of it. This is the right hand now. And obviously you did a little bit more modification. This one adding some claw plates, giving it an open hand. Where did you get the hand for this guy?
Same thing, the Jigen build knuckles, but the Zeon version of them.
Right.
And so these ones I didn't have to modify at all because they're just the slayed hands kind of thing. So that's one big thing. Is one difference between this build and the other build is I wanted to have a dynamic pose with this one.
Right.
I knew I didn't want kind of a standard pose, and every pose you see of the Kshatriya is of him standing with the 4 binders spread out, right? Because it's too heavy to do any pose. And with the articulation of the arm with the Kshatriya, it's really weird because like when the arm bends, the side shoulder binders also bend out like that. And so it looks really, really awkward. So I knew I've never seen a dynamic pose with the Kshatriya. So I knew immediately I needed to do a dynamic pose with it, right?
Nice. So it turned out really good. I love the details that you also added on the sidearm here, just to kind of hide the flatness, the seams and the flatness, right? So
that's right. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to build a lot more mechanical, more details there. So
and also that thing translated well as well on the back skirt. So we're looking at the skirt now here. More scribing. There's more little accent, bumped out armor up accent details there. For the scribes, like what are some of the tools that you've been using for scribing?
Yeah, so with this one here is the first time I use MadWork chisels.
Right.
And so I'm a huge fan. So before then I had a couple of BMC chisels. Actually, no, sorry. Very, very early on, I had that Tamiya scriber, that black.
Oh, the hook?
Like,
the hook. God, I think that's I have that somewhere.
Yeah, that's the one I first used,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That like butchers pieces, man. Like
it's
never...
a V-cut too, so when you scribe, you don't get that consistent. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's terrible, and it's like huge, right? And so I used Holly. So for my Zaku, custom Zaku, I used Holly scribers. Those are the ones that are like teardrop shape.
Yep.
And so those ones were okay, but those also do V cuts. And so I wasn't a big fan of those, but so for the Kshatriya, it was the first time I used MadWork chisels. I always had BMC chisels, but I only used BMC only for notches, not really for panel lines.
Okay.
And so after the Kshatriya, using the MadWorks, I just fell in love. I was like, wow, like MadWorks is like amazing. And so those are the only chisels I use. Well, MadWorks and BMCs right now are the only ones I use.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I've yet to use that. I've been using the Krios one just because it was affordable. And it was it gave some really good things. But like MadWorks is definitely coming up, so I am going to be looking into upgrading that. But you confirming to use it, so let's do that. Next couple of photos here, we got the chest coming up, and a little bit more. I'm just going to cycle through again the rest of the photos here just so that we can keep a little bit of pace. Here's a collage of looks like an inner working. So that's the LED, and the thing that popped up for this is that the light show that you put on this one. Can you talk us a little bit more on this image right here?
Yeah, of course. So this is actually my very first time in doing LED work on any kit. maybe my third time soldering in my entire life.
Okay.
So
Wow.
and so I had to look up a lot of images, a lot of like prototypes that I made, solder, because I soldered a switch into this as well too, so you can switch it on and off. The one bad thing I did here though is that the battery is buried like in the body, because originally my mind was like, oh, I'm just gonna turn it on for photos and then off, you know.
Right,
but
right.
What I didn't know I would win, right? And apparently when I won and it was displayed, the eyes were just turned on the entire time, and so it was only on for maybe like a day and a half, and then the battery died. But like now for me to retrieve that, yeah, they got the photo. Now to retrieve the battery, I would have to like take apart everything, and I would risk scratching paint. So I'm not gonna like take it apart anymore. But anyway, so I had to do a lot of problem solving because I've never seen anyone do an LED eye for the Kshatriya, and so so it was a lot of kind of experimenting. But boy, do I tell you, like when it works after you put it all together after painting, it was one of the best feelings ever. Like, when I turned it on, I remember just putting the torso just on the table, and I turned it on, and I would just literally like stare at it, and I would be like, "Wow, I can't believe I did it," you know. So that that's how it was. And the switch is in the back, and so it looks like a panel detail. So it didn't like take away or make it look weird or anything like that.
Nice. No, that totally completed the set as well. Continuing on, congratulations on working LED lights. I know how difficult that could be for a lot of people. Yeah. Maybe we could get a tutorial from Ryan Lau in the future.
I'm not a pro. Right? I'm terrible at it.
Next couple of stuff here, we're just going through the rest of the details for the side. These are the binders. And the funnels on their carriage here. Did you do any modifications on the undercarriage, or just kind of like cap them or something here? Yeah,
so pretty much for the one, the whole regular binder, I just scribed it like crazy, right? Well, not crazy, but like as best as I can, right? The other one, I actually like chopped off a bunch of pieces because the Kshatriya Besarang has that like kind of the repaired kind of binder. Right. Yeah. And so that one was more or less a copy of the line art, that was there. But I did add like, extra details, like that blue kind of like rectangular part on
attached
the top.
To it, yeah.
Yeah, that was some, liberal kind of freedom thing for me. But it took a very long time to cut out all those like areas, because all those areas were like filled in detail, right? So I needed to cut it out.
Were the funnels attached? They weren't individuals, right?
No, the funnels are individual funnels.
Oh, okay.
So the Kshatriya Repaired, the main binder actually opens and reveals the funnels underneath. But of course, when I pose it, I'm not opening it, kind of thing. But yeah, actually, I don't even think I painted the funnels.
Oh.
I'm lazy.
Next couple of shots here, we have the Kshatriya in the dynamic poses. This now like approaching your final. Let's talk about the base. The base is also scratch built. It's also very, I wouldn't say simple, but it had like the whole scene effect. You're going for a scene here, right?
Yeah, I love the way you put it, because it was actually very intentional to not have the base overtake the model. And so I love what you said there, actually, because you're right. It is more simple. I didn't want it to make it too simple, though, like just the white piece that he's flying over something. And so what I really, really love is basically the cross section of like airplanes, like how they have like the weight reducing trusses with the holes through and stuff. And then so I took a lot of inspiration from a lot of like cross sections of airplane, armor, I guess,
Yes.
And so I made that side. I purposely wanted to make that side like look like that, and so you can see the pipes running through as well too. And then so, but yeah, essentially it's just one big plot plate with other plot plates put on top of it, and then scribed in the middle, kind of in a relatively simple pattern, because I didn't want anything to take away from the suit. And so, and I wanted the green of the suit to really stand out and be the center of attention.
So to make that stand out, and I was just like noticing that like the contrasting color of, we're going to talk about the explosion next. I have that on screen right now. Really good effect. That I think was the icing to the cake. It really made your green pop out. You have this like warm color in front of a hot color. Sorry, like a cool color in front of a hot color. Really stand out. So right now we're looking at the explosion, the smoke effect. Is this your first time doing this? Like, what's the story here?
Yes. And so, okay, so originally my concept was that there was this huge giant laser beam hitting the base, and the Kshatriya just narrowly escapes it, right?
Right.
And then but then and I wanted the base to be like melted, from the beam. So one of the things is, after making that base, I was like, oh, I don't want to like destroy it, because like
it's so nice, it's so pretty.
I was like, I don't want to destroy it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I would have to destroy it if like the laser beam was there. So I'm like, okay, maybe I won't do the laser beam. And I didn't want too harsh of lines, because the laser beam would like go one way and the base would go the other way. And so I didn't want like too much cross-section line, because the suit was going another way too, right? So my composition, I didn't want that to happen. And so in the end, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just add an explosion, Yeah. And so this is my very first time making it. And I looked up a lot of military tutorials on how explosions are done. And honestly, like, a lot of them are like amazing, like mind-blowingly amazing. And so this one, I knew I wanted an explosion, right? I actually just lit this up with like a puck LED light underneath. And
Nice.
So it was just nice and simple. There was even a remote control to turn it on and off kind of thing, right?
Yeah, but you can't put one inside your chest. What kind of lighting designer are you? Freaking
I know.
useless.
Clearly, I'm very useless. And so the funny thing is, like, the battery ran out of that for like maybe 2 days or something too. And so I mean, once again, I didn't know I would win, right? And so I mean, in hindsight, I probably would have done it differently now, but anyways.
No, it looks good. It looks good.
With this,
Yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, so I basically, this is my very first time doing it. In fact, a lot of the Edmonton Gunpla builders group people will know, because I brought it to one of the events.
Oh, nice.
Everyone was building their models,
Yeah.
and I whip out cotton. And I'm like gluing cotton onto chicken wire. They're like, everyone was looking around. They're like, "What are you doing, Ryan?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually trying to like build something. I don't know if it's gonna work, but anyway." So it's actually really neat seeing like the local Edmonton guys being part of that experience, because a lot of them are like, I remember seeing Ryan glue like cotton balls to this chicken wire. So anyways, that was
awesome.
kind of neat.
Well, with all this experience and all that stuff, it didn't stop there. So you won Canada's all-round nationwide competition for GBWC 2018. You went all the way to Japan with this. Congratulations on that, by the way, that win.
Thank you.
The next image here, we have your gold medal. This is from the Canada placement of that. What were your first thoughts when you received your gold medal? Trophy.
Yeah, I competed online, and to tell you the truth, I saw Simon's build of his Psycho Gundam throughout the whole process, and like honestly, like I was so blown away and floored by his Psycho Gundam, and so like I knew he was going online as well too, so I was like, oh man, there's gonna be zero chance. And I know Andrew was building something too, and I know Andrew's a really talented. There's so many talented builders here, right? And so I honestly didn't know that I would place, and so for the longest time after submitting it, we didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, we just knew that it might take them 2 weeks or so to find the final winner. And then finally, I remember on a Friday, I think it was a Friday, I got a phone call. And the phone call, the other line's like, "Hi, is this Ryan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Ryan, right? Who's this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Sean from Plamod." I was like, oh,
nice.
No way. And I remember my wife like was sitting with me, and I was like screaming. I was like, he's like, "Congratulations, you're the Canadian winner." And I was like,
that's
awesome.
This
is crazy. And like, it was so surreal. Like, honestly, I was floored. Like, I was so surprised. So it was amazing. Yeah.
That is awesome. Congratulations. But however, that wasn't your only trophy. We have a black trophy here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to that trophy. I just want to show you guys this nice. What color is it? What color would you say? It is black, or is it titanium?
It's kind of like gunmetal, actually.
Gunmetal. Okay, we're gonna get to the gunmetal in a bit. Let's talk about going to Japan.
Cool.
Next couple of photos is you in Japan now. Who did you bring with you? You brought your wife with you?
Yeah, my wife and my brother-in-law. Yeah.
Nice. So some of the photos here, you're going through some of the kits at local stores.
Yes, this is actually a local store. I downloaded Zaku Aurelius's guide in Tokyo, in Akihabara, where to shop. Nice. And this is one of the stores there that had like every single, this was like amazing. Like it had every single P Bandai pretty much. And this is like, I think this is kind of a used store, but also like kind of a new store,
right?
You know, because they held a lot of old stock and also super rare kits, like full gold, like, RX, 78-2s and stuff. And so I remember spending like hours in that store. Thank you. It's not COVID.
I know. So we have our first confirmed case on AO Mecha Live. Jesus.
Sorry.
Gundam sorry.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of like rare ones here.
Yeah, and then we visited Gundam Cafe. Obviously had to, right?
Yeah.
It was really cool because inside Gundam Cafe, I was talking with the cashier just randomly, and he's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Canada." He's like, "Whoa, Canada? That's from such a far away place." I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then
did you guys actually sound like that? Because like, it feels like an anime.
Maybe I was like that. But maybe I was really excited because I just love everything Japanese.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying like, "Oh, why? What brings you here?" And I'm like, "Oh, actually, I'm here like for GBWC." And he's like, GBWC? And I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like showing him my Kshatriya and like telling him about it, and he's like, "Whoa, like I'm gonna watch out for you." But like it was like really broken English kind of thing.
Right.
But
right.
It was such a cool experience, you know, like just
speaking of experience, you went to the statue? You went to the unicorn statue.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, all happy and stuff. You know, I have to ask the same question, right? Did you touch the statue? Did you lick it?
No.
Oh man, we are 7-0, guys. What the hell is going on here? All right, I'm gonna break this record when I get to Japan. You know.
Okay, that's wonderful. You do that.
Yeah. In other news, AO Mecha is now officially closed because Bandai has sanctioned and banned on AO Mecha. Yeah. I don't care, worth it.
Ariel arrested for licking Gundam.
It wouldn't be the first time, Ryan. It won't be the last either.
That's true. That's awesome.
Next couple of photos here, you are now GBWC. There's now all of the contestants from all over the world. Mm-hmm. You're just taking photos with that. I'm just going to go through some of the photos here. Like, here are what looks like the entries. Or what am I looking at? That's a stat. No, the golden trophy.
Yeah. So they have past GBWC winners there, and so I was admiring E-Day's Zeta.
Oh man, E-Day's awesome.
Exactly. Like it's really amazing. Like you see photos of things, right? And then when you see them in person, you can literally analyze every single surface, look at every single detail, and it really blows your mind how cleanly done it is, the craftsmanship involved. And so that's what I would literally spend like minutes just staring at one little detail, and I didn't realize how small his model actually was.
Yeah, it's a high grade.
Well, it's actually even smaller. He took like the Zeta head is actually one of those candy toy heads that he made.
No.
Yeah. Wow. So the whole model is only like this big. It's like the size of my hand almost.
Right.
And so I was admiring all of the other winners. This is the day before the competition, actually. So I had time just to roam around.
And you guys are all setting up. There's a photo here with a gentleman you're standing beside. There's a couple of photos here.
Yes.
The first guy here, who's this guy? Is this your translator? Your handler?
Yeah, so each country had like basically a translator. And after setting up, they would lead you to have lunch with you. And so I had two friends who flew in from Hong Kong just to attend with me in Japan. And so he treated both my friends, my wife, my brother-in-law, and me to lunch, right?
What?
And he speaks really good English, right? The funny thing is like they follow you. Each country has a handler following you, right? And I asked Win, right? I was like, Win, like how is this common? Like, did they do this every year? Like, how come they do this? Right? And Win's like, oh well, it's just because they want to make sure that you arrive on time and everything. One year, apparently, there was like this Thai winner who like wandered off and broke his leg and couldn't attend like the rest of the competition. And so since then, they had handlers follow them around. So, but this guy was so cool. He's like the head of international sales for Bandai. Yeah. And so it was so awesome picking his brain and everything and like just talking with him.
That's awesome. And it's kind of cool. Like I like that idea of like you learn from mistakes. And here at AO Mecha, we learn from our previous mistakes and improve on the show. So that's why we got Ryan Lau now on the show. Because if I was to put him at episode 1 like Nicoel Steada Sanchez, man, my show would have been canceled. There would be no sponsorship whatsoever, and we would just we wouldn't be having this conversation. So thank you for innovation. Oh my god, Meijin Kawaguchi.
Yes.
Meijin Kawaguchi. Was that the first time meeting the Meijin?
Yes, it was my very first time. It was so surreal. I told him, I was like, you're like the Michael Jordan of the Gunpla world. And then he was like, I was like, I don't know if he understood what I told him just now. And like, I was like, oh, just sign my thing, please. And then he signed my thing. But anyways, I love the guy. He's so, he's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. And I have a photo here up you on the stage, and this is now collecting your prizes. But obviously, there were other winners ahead of you. What place did you end up going with all the entries there?
So I was honestly floored, right? Like, when I first arrived and after everyone set up all their models, I was just happy to be a participant. I saw everyone's and I was like, man, this is mind-blowing work, right?
Right.
In the end, so they started off by doing all the special awards. They did 3 special awards. And so the first award was like the Gundam Base Award, you know, and that was so that was awarded to the Hong Kong representative, right? And then secondly, they're like, okay, well, our corporate sponsor award is given to like Ryan Lau, and I was like, what? Like, joking me, right? And I was like, did they just call my name? And then like I was standing up and I was like walking up to the stage and I was like, this is what's going on right now, right?
Nice.
And then so I totally didn't expect it, right? And so and to be standing beside Manser and Win, I was like, I am not worthy. Like, these guys are like, whoop, and I'm like,
oh man, no, you were you deserve to be up there, placing already for Canada. You did our country great, country proud.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations on that. Actually, what I want to do here. So when I was talking with Ryan earlier on, let's just swing back a little to Ryan and I talking. When we were talking about GBWC, I'm like, Ryan, where's your GBWC stuff? And you're like, oh yeah, I got some stuff. Like this guy, like what kind of interview feature do you think this is? I'm not gonna ask you about your GBWC. Think it's gonna be a family show now? We do have something special for everyone today, don't we?
Yeah.
So Ryan sent over a vid he made from his trip there, and I'm just gonna lower the music here. Actually, we're gonna cut it off. You guys are gonna get a special treat. We're gonna do a quick video that Ryan put together at GBWC. So checking us out live at AO Mecha for those of you guys are still tuning in, and you can watch it again later on posting of this for rewind. This is can you set us up? What is this video about, and what days were covered?
Awesome. So my lovely wife documented this entire experience, basically from morning to night of the entire event. Basically it starts off with me in the hotel room. And then we meet up in the lobby.
Don't give it away, man.
Wait, so I'll tell you more. My
spoiler, hashtag spoiler alert. This guy can't shut the hell up. Holy crap. I just said, what is this video about? You could have just said, oh, it's me. We would have been okay with that. In a few words, describe what we're about to see.
Okay. Sorry, what? Describe what you're about to see?
Yeah.
So basically, you'll see the whole experience of GBWC. I really wanted to document this whole thing for people to be able to see through the lens of participants, right?
Nice.
And so I feel like that's what I wanted to share with everyone.
Awesome. So why don't we do let's cut to the video. Let's take a look. It's a couple of minutes long, so enjoy the trip. We'll be standing by and we're gonna get back to you after this video. So enjoy.
My unicorn shirt ready, I got my scarf, and I got my entry, and it's time to start the day! Yes, I'm Ryan, Canada.
I'll be there.
We're heading to the Gundam race. Okay, you can see everyone.
Everyone's carrying their model.
Yeah, we're going!
Okay.
Gotta find Ryan.
We're setting up now! And we're gonna be setting this up very soon. And we have an hour and a half. and sound. All in one piece.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul, I'll be there. Never leaving you in the darkness, even when you're out of focus. I will be the light in your secret. I'll be your inspiration.
This is like the Men's Beacon Special Award. I got a special award.
They have 3 special awards.
Yeah, and I was one of the recipients of it. And I got 4th place as well, too.
Yeah, 4th overall.
Wow, what an honor.
Hello. Award ceremony, we got this bringing us back to Canada.
Yeah! After the ceremony, we're heading to the big Gundam for photos, group photos.
Shoot photos.
Yeah.
And the guy who's racing his hat is heading up the
We're almost there. You can see his feet.
award ceremony. Can you show us your medal again for your award?
Okay, so. Over here, right?
The right hand on the left hand, yeah.
Okay, so.
I'll be your inspiration, 'cause I know that you'll do just what you're told. I'll be your harder temptation, 'cause I know that you'll make it on your own. I'll be your inspiration.
Do a presentation.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
You're very special.
We'll get the answer right. Then give a bunch of
Cafe parts! There's so many cafe parts! So they gave us 10,000 yen each to spend on any Gunpla we have, and they closed the entire store and we could just go around the store and get whatever kid we want. It's so cool!
They closed down the whole shop. It's just the winners now. What an exclusive shopping experience.
Amazing.
探しの商品やお困りのことございましたらお電話ください。
Darkness, even when you're out of focus, I will be the light in your life. You'll see it clear. I'll be your inspiration.
Ryan's model. Look, they added this to this corner. A lot of the special
my 10,000 yen!
Over there, they show the Gundam Based Award, who came this Japan is the open question. They show who was second, third, so it's cool that Ryan has questions.
Such a huge honor.
Time to lit up the night. They're ushering all the winners out.
Baby, you can count on me now. When you're falling down, down, down.
Strategy game? Back at the hotel after an eventful day. It was amazing. It was like a dream come true. It was honestly surreal. Thanks for being with me.
Ryan, welcome back to the show. That was an awesome vid there. I feel like I cut something off at the end, but I'm very, really sorry about that.
That's okay.
We'll be posting the actual video again if you guys have not seen it yet. But wow, what a trip that was. Hopefully everybody that's joining us right now had a little bit of feel of GBWC and kind of getting a little bit more taste on that. Man, let's just do a quick hello to everybody that's watching us, guys, from YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, how's it going over there? And YouTube, there's a lot of stuff here, comments. I just want to circle back and get some of the comments up here, and then we were going to continue on with the rest of the show. But first, let's get some more music back in here. Let's throw some of that mix in there. It was too quiet. That was awesome. I love the editing of that, and thank you to your wife for documenting that. Once in a lifetime so far. Hopefully
Yes.
you get another shot at GBWC because I think that would be really cool. Let's see, from where are we here? From Andrew Young, yes, the Kshatriya, trade you a 1/100 Kshatriya for that work. Bro Builder, I love the iteration of the Kshatriya fucking baller work. Oh my god, I just swear. I'm just reading off all this stuff. I want to see that giant arm unit, Ryan, so he's gonna probably post that soon. Love that build. That's from Nico. Mecha Painter becoming a Zeon fan? Question mark. Neo Zeong, Zaku, Kshatriya, one Fedi suit. Yep. Planet Terror. Yeah, we were talking about the Grindhouse films. That is correct. That is with the peg leg.
yeah.
Oh my god, not scribing like this. That's what I use mine for. That's awesome. From Jonathan, that's actually a question from Jonathan. This is Jonathan Morissette over at MSMN. By the way, I want to know, what's your personal process in kit bashing and conceptualization in a way that you can easily paint after?
Great question. Actually, before I start, this suit jacket is for Andrew.
When the fans ask, we deliver.
I deliver. We deliver.
Yeah, he delivers. I didn't do anything. I just sat here and pressed buttons. But yeah,
just let us know what you want Ari to wear, and he'll wear it.
Or not wear. I'll go nude, man. Holy cow.
Okay, sorry. What's the process of kit bashing? You know what, John? John, very nice. Thank you for watching too, by the way. I love you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
It's his first time watching too, because he's such a fan.
You know what? It's actually I'm relatively new to kit bashing, and actually I haven't shown pictures of it, but the kit I'm working on right now, the Hazentlay 2 Raw. This is my first time where I'm doing more kit bashing. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned from that kit actually is that I tend to want to go for similar aesthetics, or I have something in mind of like for example, the repaired leg that I was talking about, right? I want to find something with a similar form to what the Kshatriya foot is, which is long and pointy. But I wanted to make it, different, right? And so what I would do, I would replay in my mind basically all, well, not all, but like the suits that I feel like might fit that description. Right. And then I put it in. I feel like they have to have similar characteristics as well too, something like it might not look as right if you're making a Fedi suit with a Zeon suit, for example, because then you might have the round edges with like a more rectangular, angular edge, right? And so I tend to look for more general themes like that. In terms of kitbashi, I'm still not like like really experienced in that form or that way, but I'm trying to get better. And so for example, with my Hazen Play 2 Raw, the parts that I've been using to kitbash with that is basically all its variants, and because they all have very similar characteristics and angles and forms and lines, that makes it almost indistinguishable to the actual suit, and so that would probably be one of my first kind of tips. In terms of color, it does throw things off, but I find like after you prime everything, like it just, it just looks, like it's blended in. So
it's supposed to be together kind of
deal.
Exactly. Yeah. I think a perfect example of this whole conceptualization, customization, I think we're going to see that in the next couple of slides. I think we are on our last project here. So thank you guys for tuning in, everybody there at Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We're going to get the rest of your comments, but first I think we should continue on with the show. And let's get through this and we'll answer some more of these questions at the end. So please, if you guys have any questions for Ryan, type them at the questions here, there, here, everywhere. We're gonna get to that. All right, let's get back to the presentation. We have the Zaku. The Zaku, I think, is one of the underrated kits out there. It's an older kit. I forgot what number it is. Obviously, it's not the most well known kit as well, but you made it so that, like, holy crap, people are talking about it. I remember this actually, I enjoyed watching your whips on this one. Thank you for sharing that here at Side 6 and just online everywhere on your Instagram. If you guys have not been following him, check him out. Gunpla enthusiast. I can never get that right. I feel like I got something stuck in my. Ryan, where can they find you again?
Gunpla enthusiast. I'm just kidding. Enthusiast.
All right, we're done. Cancel the show. Enthusiast.
Enthusiast. That's my secondary account.
Oh my god, really?
Just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
That's for your cake stuff, isn't it? Or like your BDSM stuff, exactly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's walk through the Zaku here. Great project, by the way. What got you to doing the Zaku?
Great question.
Yeah.
And so it's actually really cool because a couple months back, Eric actually and a couple of other modelers decided to hold the Great Canadian Build-Off. And so one of the things with that one is that they wanted the competition. It was all across Canada. The most amazing competition, actually, because it really unified all the Canadian builders. And I mean, there's a second part too that's even more. But anyways, going back to this, the competition was basically based on painting a kit, just like no modifications, but just painting it, And so I was trying to look through my backlog, and the Zaku's Way actually is a candy toy. It's a universal unit candy toy kit. So there was never ever an HD release or an MG release or anything like that. And so this is the only Bandai released kit of this model. There's of course the Zaku Eins that was an HD version, but not the Zaku.
That's where I got confused, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, oh crap, this is that candy toy.
That's okay.
So it's even like, what's the scale of this guy?
Yeah, so it's actually 1 in 240.
Holy cow.
Scale. And so, but it's it's actually like, because it's naturally a bigger suit, I would compare it to just a little bit smaller than an HD in terms of height. And I actually downturned the feet, so it makes it even taller, but yeah, it's a little bit shorter than an HG. Like I compared it to the RX-78, and it's like maybe like a centimeter, 2 centimeters shorter.
Dude,
than
this
him.
Feels like a master grade from the photos. Like really well done, well shot. I keep forgetting that it was not. I thought it was the Zaku Eins, and I'm thinking in my head, oh, it's Zaku Eins, but it's not.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. We have the instructions here. It's very simple too. It's not like a lot of stuff. Right?
Exactly, and you can even see like the instructions are very simplistic because it's a candy toy, right?
Right.
And then if you look at the next one too, it's basically everything is on a single runner. Like it's attached onto a single runner, and everything is 2 pieces fit together into one. And so I remember seeing this, and in my mind, I was like, oh, I want to do this for the competition for the Great Canadian Build-Off. And so I remember even messaging you guys and Andrew as well too. And I was like, hey guys, can I use this, but just like paint this up? And then I remember like, they were like, yeah, I don't see why not. Like it's still a Bandai kit.
Toy.
It's not HG, but it's still a Bandai kit. And then sooner later, Ariel, you asked me to like help judge for the event. So then I was okay, never mind. I obviously can't put an entry in, right?
Well, here's my thought process on that. Number one, with this kit and actually seeing how it's progressing, it's just gonna beat everybody already. Number two, no. We asked, thank you again. So Ryan here judged the event one for the Great Canadian Build-Off. That is a event that brought the nation together. Multiple communities across Canada, ranging from Vancouver with Gunpla, Edmonton, with our central team with Manitoba. With Manitoba. We also have in Ontario, we have Ottawa, we have Side 6, going to Montreal, and as far as east as Nova Scotia now with Event 2 that collaborated to make this event. So when we were looking at judges, we wanted to make sure that we have a diverse team of that versed in our hobby, familiar, and have the same passion that our builders have for it. Ryan here is a prime example of that, and it was a no-brainer choice that this guy here is a prime example of what the hobby enthusiasts Gundam enthusiasts embodied. So again, Ryan, thank you for judging that. He's also returning for event 2. So event 1 and event 2 judging. I'm gonna have some questions on that towards the end of the show about the judging, but why don't we continue on with this? So you're putting this together. It looks like a very difficult and challenging kit because not only the scale, but because of its simplicity, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good point. And so it was actually really funny because as I was putting this together, this is after I found out I'm judging, I'm not doing the competition anymore. As I was putting it together, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually really thankful that I'm not just painting this up regularly because there's so much potential in the kit. There's so much I wanted to do to it because I'm like, there's so much bare spaces and so much details I want to add. And so I'm so thankful to the Great Canadian Build-Off for starting me on this build. And honestly, I never would have built this if it weren't for the possibility of me competing in this, right? But anyways, so as I was building it, I was realizing basically every limb has maybe 3 seam lines to close.
Oh my God,
these are seam lines like across the entire forearm and like all the way. And like I feel like this really, because back to my Gunpla journey, I always chose kits that were safer, i.e. kits that maybe didn't have a lot of seam lines, or at least if they did have seam lines, they were easily hidden. Right. And so this one, for example, had tons of seam lines. And so if anything, this was probably the best practice for me to learn seam line closure and like learn creative ways of like cutting, C-shaped pegs and stuff to modify things so that I can pop it back in after for easy painting. Right. And so I kind of got a little carried away. It also so happened that this was during COVID lockdown, right? And so I had so much time to work on this. And so it was I haven't had this much fun doing Gunpla in a long, since the Kshatriya, I guess, right? And so I wanted to, basically every single piece I like modified as well too,
Yeah, we're at the back, like the back shelf piece of it. How many kits of this did you have? Did you have only that one kit?
Yeah, I only had the one kit.
Wow.
And so I had to make sure I didn't ruin it. but
one shot,
yeah. So basically you're at the back skirt part, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So the back skirt part, like this one took the longest for me to conceptualize how I want to do, but I always knew I wanted to do a back skirt like the Sazabi back skirt. And I wanted some mechanical reveals in there. And so so this is probably one of my favorite mods done on a suit. I'm just so glad it all turned out. I had to rescribe all the details as well too, because all the details were not very like well molded. And so I had like basically every single line you see is like all rescribed and stuff too, right? And so yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Did you see the foot part yet? So so the foot part's really funny because like everyone's like, why would you detail the bottom of the foot, right? And that's very true. Like, why would you detail the bottom of the foot? Well, after I figured out the pose of this, I realized that the bottom of the foot will be seen. So I'm like, I can't detail the whole suit and just have the foot bare because this foot literally had 0 details on it. And so I had so much fun detailing this foot because I could draw from many different inspirations and like just build something. And so I really like
I love it. Okay, so we're looking at the underside of the foot here. That's what you were just talking about. So I was muted for a second there. Sorry, I pressed the button. And no, but we're back at it. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry guys about that. I was trying to get to the foot scene because like I know Ryan is very excited about this one.
I like feet.
He likes like feet, but lots of details on that. The next one here is the before and after shot of it, kind of giving a feel of like what that is. Like just wow, like what was some of your I guess best moments out of the kit, and what do you think is the most challenging part of this build?
Working at this scale was challenging because it was difficult for me to find detail up parts that would match the scale of this. And I've never worked in this small of a scale before. It's not like really small. It's just a little smaller than an HG, but still I wanted to make it look super clean. One of the biggest things I did is because there's a lot of warping of the parts and stuff.
Okay.
And so if anything, I learned not only seam line closure, like clean seam line closure, but also like sanding nice angles to everything.
Right.
Because I wanted to make sure, and it's actually the biggest compliment, Ariel, when you're like, wow, this is like 1 in 240 scale. Like I've had a couple of people tell me like, you made it look way bigger than it actually is.
Yes, the detail on it is great. Yeah.
And so because I kind of wanted to give that vibe, like when they look at the before and after, they won't know that this is just a candy toy, that this is like, you know, an MG or something. You know, some people even thought it was like a resin or something, right? And so that's why I wanted to make sure every surface was like as smooth as possible and as symmetrical and as straight. And so that probably took the longest time because literally every surface was sanded. One of the hardest things I would say is because there's a lot of empty details underneath the skirts and everything. So I actually painted the underneath surface all dark gray. And that was really hard to mask around everything. And so that was probably the most challenging part, is to hide all those like ugly areas so that in any angle when you look at it, you won't see it, you know?
Wow.
And so
and it really came through. So we're looking the last couple of photos here we were looking at are your I guess primed version. We're getting to the coloring of it now, obviously with your muted colors again, and lots of taping and all that stuff to it.
Yeah.
Man, this is so crazy. Like you have the little mask for your sensors.
Yeah, are you talking about the eye?
We're looking at the eye and the sensor and like the shield sensor.
So this is really funny, right? Okay, so I tried like many different techniques to get that perfect like green dot on the eye, right? And like I wanted it to be reflective, and I couldn't find anything small enough that would fit that because it's so tiny, right? And so yeah, I went masking crazy here. So I basically like I just cut this little tiny hole, right? And then I just masked it right over top of the face. And then I primed it, I painted gloss black, chrome, and then light green, and then translucent green, you know? Just all for that one dot in the eye. I know people would have been like, why didn't you just hand paint it? Like, just dot it, and then dot it, and dot it. And like, I could have done that, but that would have built up too many layers, and it would have made his eye pop out too much. And so I knew I needed really thin layers of that, right? And so that's why I did it that way. And it turned out, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And also on the radome too, on the next photo. The radome, it's like, all those details were all masks except for the little red camera dot. That one was like painted with like the tip of a needle. And so and so that one was literally just one drop, and then I stopped, and I was like, okay, I had to do a drop of white first, and then a drop of red that was smaller than the white drop, so it looks like a camera. But
it looks really cool. I love also, again, we're gonna get to the colors. There's a lot more taping, masking. Now you're getting into like the reveal, the undercarriage reveals, and then the detail for this, the letter D.
That one was thanks to Andrew for printing me custom decals. He's the guy to go to. So this one, they're all not pre-cut. So it's all as a sheet, right? And so this is the one thing I was super anal about, is that in a lot of the Zaku's Way builds, like all the resin ones that I've seen, the D is always not positioned correctly.
It never is.
If you look at the two arm, well, I shouldn't say never, but most likely it's not, you know, because the armor pieces aren't actually completely parallel to each other. They're kind of angled a little bit. And so when people do it, they just cut it, and then they, you know, mind you, there's not that many people who's built it. So I basically like put tape in there on the D, and then I cut it out exactly where the pieces would end. And then I would like remove that tape, and then I would like apply it with so that it would still look like a D when you look at it, kind of thing, right? So
the D. You guys gotta work on that D.
Oh, it's just terrible. Moving on to the next couple of photos.
We have the before and after here with the muted colors. It looked really, really well, especially now that we're seeing all the details that have been done on it. Because like you're looking at the before photo, it's just your giant blue color thing, very, I guess like monotone color in a way. And then what you did on your new color scheme, that whole baby blue, that whole desaturated color for it looks really, really good. And then you put a display case for this guy. What can you tell us about the display of this?
So I had this IKEA Cines acrylic display case for the longest time. Like ever since seeing it at IKEA years ago, I was like, I need to buy that. Like I don't even know what I'm going to put in it because it's too small for an MG. It fits an HG, but kind of not that nice kind of thing. And so finally, when I was thinking of how to display it, I looked at it again. I'm like, you know what? This actually fits perfectly. And like, I wanted to make a super clean, because like the whole purpose of this is I wanted to make it super clean, right? And so I wanted a really clean display case. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put like a decal on there and that's it. And I was like, wait, but it's going to look kind of like, and I'm like, you know what? I want to make it like floating or appear like it's floating, right? Because I just, I was like, oh, that's cool. So then like I drilled kind of a hole through the back of it, and then I secured it through a rod underneath. And so when you look at it from the front and even from like 3/4 angles, it honestly looks like it's floating.
Yeah,
but then when
it
you
looks
look at
really
it
clean.
From the side, you can see the rod up the back essentially, right?
Oh, that's minutia. Don't worry about that. Like, overall, it looks great. Then you printed out the this is the last photo here from our set, the Gundam Sentinel RMS 142 Zeku's Way. Man, that was one hell of a build. How did you feel about after completing that?
It was such an awesome feeling. Like I'm still staring at it all the time. I have it like actually right over here, and so this is where I build my models and stuff. So every now and then I'm just looking up and I'm like, wow, like I can't believe I made that. Like it's kind of it's like when you look at something and you're always like just noticing details.
Always
and I'm
on
just
it,
yeah. So it's really cool. Like I'm loving it. Like I really, really enjoyed that.
No, it looked really great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Why don't we go take back one here? Guys, that was it for the show and tell for Ryan Lau and his projects. See, not a lot of projects, but there's so much detail and thought and workflow put into that. We're gonna do a quick hello to everybody that's online right now. We're gonna do a couple of questions, and I think we're gonna wrap up the show really, really soon. Thank you guys for tuning in, everybody there at Facebook Live and YouTube Live. At YouTube, we have. I'm just gonna go back to some of the comments. They're very lively chat, guys. Thank you for coming in. What's up, everybody? That's from Juan Ferreira. Hobbyworks Randy. Someday Japan. Someday. Choco Falcon is in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. R13 is the vid running. Yes, we were just talking about the video and all that. Thank you again for sharing that. Maverick is saying nice setup for your show, AO Mecha. Thank you very much on that. I'm not doing this. This is all Ryan right now. The show is about Ryan. We should just call this Ryan Lau Live. RLL. Let's go. From Miguel. What an energetic guy. Choco Falcon. Time passed too quickly for us. Yeah. From Goodman Models. That was super cool, Ryan. I missed the first part. The 1-to-1 Gundam by a year, so he wasn't there when the statue was there. Murder Math, can't wait to see your next entry. Ryan, let's see here. Michael Rinaldi saying hi. He says, hi, Ryan and Ariel, just passing through. I'll rewatch tomorrow. Can't wait. So, Michael, thank you for, dropping by and saying hello. Michael Rinaldi here also. Previous feature builder. Check him out on AO Mecha live feature builder episodes. Let's see here. We have a question from R13. How long did it take you to build and custom, would you say? Well, I guess it depends. Like, let's do an example. Your timeline for the Zeku's Way. I think that's the latest.
Yeah.
What would you say would be the
Zeku's Way? I would say it took. I was waiting a while for the decals. In terms of when it was all painted already, it probably took from beginning to end maybe 2 months. But I worked pretty much every day because I was like free, right?
Yeah.
So I would say in total maybe like 2.5 months, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to shout out to Dave. Hi, Choco Falcon Dave.
Hi,
I
Dave.
love you, man. I can't believe it's 2 years. And also Mike Rinaldi. You were the man. I'm so honored to be called your friend as well. So thank you so much for watching the show, guys.
Michael is such a great guy. David is such a good guy. I want to see. I want to see if I can get Choco Falcon in the show. What do you guys think? Should we get Choco Falcon in the show?
Yes.
Should we get Dave on the show?
Have to. Dave is the man. He is so Dave, if you're listening, which I know you are, come on the show.
There we go. Also, last couple of things here. Jonathan Velasquez, did you press the fire missile button? I did. That was for me. Miguel is saying, awesome stuff, guys. Wow. From Yan, is it just me or his audio went out? Yes, I did press the wrong button a couple of times because like I was telling Ryan that like, hey, we gotta keep moving.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's my fault. But last couple of questions here. For the Great Canadian Build-Off, like, what was your impressions of the kits that were entered in Event 1? And what are you looking forward to the most in Event 2 for judging?
You know, I was honestly, I was quite blown away actually by the creativity. It's tricky when you tell people that it's a paint-only contest and no modification, because you have to be very creative, right? In the way you apply your paint scheme, you have to have good color choice and complement colors and stuff. And so I was honestly so blown away. Like, we have a lot of amazing talent here, and I'm so glad that we can see some of that talent through this competition. And even, yes, it's a competition, but if anything else, it unifies us as builders. And I feel like oftentimes we're kind of doing this in our own homes, in our own settings. And it's so awesome to still be able to do this together as a nation.
Right.
So I was very impressed. And I'm so excited for part 2, because that's the custom part of it.
That's correct. Yeah.
And so I'm so excited to see everyone's entries then too. So.
Yep. Regional finals is going to be completing this coming Monday, I believe. So guys, you guys are listening and you guys are participating in that contest. Hurry the F up! Oh my god, time's are ticking. We gotta get going. Speaking of time ticking, last couple of questions here. What would you say is your top 3 tools that you love to use?
Great question. So first of all, they're my chisels. When I'm modifying, nowadays I'm finding I'm modifying everything, and so my chisels is my number 1, basically like NADWorks and BMCs, like I mentioned before. I know there's this whole like elitist thing about like God hands, right? But honestly, God hands cut me a lot of time, pardon the pun, because like
funny guy, eh? Are you sure? Don't quit your day job, buddy.
I'm a magician and I'm a jokester. So, what
can't you do? I don't know, lose.
no. And so I mean, God hands I really do like, because when they're used the right way. I know there's tons that break and stuff, right? But that'll be one of my top ones as well too. And finally, lastly, let me see. I don't know. I use these little tiny tweezers a lot. I'm sure everyone uses these too. But these ones I use for everything, especially picking up tiny parts and stuff. So I use this for everything. Like, I would say those are my top 3 tools.
One thing I did notice something here. Just give me 1 second. When we were looking at your Zaku Sway, what did you use here to hang on, I'm just going back on this one. What are some of your giblet parts here? Because like I want to circle back on that, because like what did you use to cut and what did you use as the giblet cuts?
Great question. So basically, like for the main cuts for armor reveals, like I said before, basically just using the chisel. I just chisel it out, and what I always do is I chisel out the parts that I need to reveal first, and then I do panel lines around the chiseled area after it's been cleaned up, so everything's symmetrical. Yeah, and so because if you chisel, a lot of times what people may do is they they scribe all the panel lines, and then they even scribe the part they're chiseling out, and then when it comes time to chiseling everything out, they sand it a little too far and they don't match up the panel line in that case, And so what I try to do is I try to cut out the part first, as symmetrical as I feel it is, and then I design the panel lines around that cutout part.
So when you are cutting that out, do you know the exact size of the thing first before you even...
Yeah. I draw it out like crazy. Like I draw a lot of different designs and everything. And so I measure it out with a ruler and I draw all the pencil lines on the... I draw a lot of like reference lines, so I can measure from the reference lines exactly like where I need to cut it out.
Right.
And then that's how I cut it out. And then I erase all those lines again, and then I redraw all the panel line designs that I have around there. And then I'm using a chisel to cut it out essentially. Okay. And then in terms of cutting those little giblets, you call it giblets, right?
Yeah.
Or the little the little parts kind of thing, right? That the main part that was used for that back part is actually the calf inner armor of the MG Mark II.
That's why it looked familiar.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, I've used the MG Mark II in every single one of my builds actually. And so just because the inner frame of that, I feel there's a lot of really useful parts. And so, yeah.
Okay, no, great. Thank you for explaining that. One final question here before we go. What would you advise people, new people that are trying to get into the hobby, getting into, you know, scale model, Gunpla? What would you advise to people?
That's a great question. So I see Gunpla as a hobby, right? And so I feel like sometimes some people might take it like really seriously, and sometimes people might not take it seriously. They might just want to snap build and not even panel line, which is totally fine, right? And so I feel like you have to kind of figure out what type of builder you want to do, or maybe you want to progress to a next level as well too. And so don't be afraid to kind of experiment, try new techniques. I would say with every single build you do, try maybe one new technique, you know? I would definitely recommend, like, if you are ever interested in doing more custom work, right? I would say getting a really good grasp on, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but getting a really good grasp on the basics, you know? A lot of times, like, people might be like, I want to kit bash, you know? And then they would like go and kit bash all this, like a lot of crazy stuff on a kit, right? But then you see like other things, like, you know, wide open seam lines or scratch paint or, you know, or like all these things. Not that like, you can't kit bash if you don't have all these basics done, but it's kind of a stepwise approach. At least that's how I take it, kind of thing. And so I'd really focus on, like, you know, you could choose kits that have no seam lines, right? That makes it easy, right? But second thing is kind of focusing on, a lot of times you can do a lot without scribing. Well, you could re-scribe details, but you don't have to scribe new panel lines. You can make it look really, really nice just by doing that. Or you don't even have to paint. You could just like sand every surface really, really nice and smoothly, define all angles, and then just, you know, put decals and top coat, and it looks really nice, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, it changes it up. Like, you get to that next level, but it's like you're not gonna go all the way in, but like it's just like that easy step easing you into getting more stuff done.
That's right. Exactly.
That's awesome.
And just have fun.
Yeah. There we go. That right there is, I think, the most common theme. I do agree 100% of that one. Have fun. Explore, learn. You know, it's either learning or winning, right? There's no failure when it comes to our hobby. So enjoy that, guys. Ryan Lau, everybody. Again, thank you everyone that's watching there at YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And Ryan, where can they find you in your social media, by the way?
So I basically just use Instagram. So at Gunpla Enthusiast.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey,
I'm
man.
sorry,
Difficult word.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Gunpla Enthusiast on Instagram. And yeah, I post on Facebook, but it's through my personal account. So reach out to me on Instagram. That's the best. I always try to apply, and yeah.
Awesome. And that description, it's on the description below as well. Feel free to check them out there. Ryan, do you have any final words for our fans here watching the show?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much for listening, guys. It's such a privilege and honor for me to be able to just share my work and for people to listen. And so I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, you know, I love to, I'm still learning too. And so I feel like this is all a journey. And so we're all learning together and having fun together. And that's really all that is, you know, about Gunpla. So thank you so much, guys.
Awesome. Ryan, thank you very much for joining the show. We will say bye to Ryan for now. But Ryan, stay online. We're gonna chat a bit after the show. Want to say bye to everybody?
Bye.
That's awesome, Ryan. We'll take care. We'll talk in a bit. All right, guys, that was Ryan Lau. Holy cow, super fun feature builder episode. That videos that he provided were really, really cool. If you did not get a chance to miss, or if you missed the opening, you guys got to check out the opening of the show. What a magician, what a great guy. Talent, details, attention to details, and just like, man, this is the guy I would go and hug, you know, just because he's so cool. Anyways, thank you, Ryan, for joining us on our feature builder episode. Next feature, he's the third last to a season finale of season 1 of AO Mecha. There will be 2 more feature builders after this show, and I will do a quick hiatus just to re-energize. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. More content to come. I'm excited to show you guys all the stuff that I'm working on. Monday coming up, we're streaming live Mondays and Wednesdays for a backlog builder episode. And the following Saturday, we're going to reveal that feature builder on this Wednesday's episode of Backlog Builder. This show is powered by USA Gundam Store, so feel free to check those folks out. www.usagundamstore.com. and save when you use my discount code AOMECA10. If this is your first time on the channel, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps myself, the community, the channel grow. Guys, thank you so much. You guys have been such a great support and such a pleasure to do these shows for. I can't wait to see you guys again in the next episode. So till then, hope you guys are keeping safe, taking care of yourselves, and enjoying the hobby. All right, till next time, guys. See ya.